Oh, a very warm welcome to the news in details. Now, President Paul Kagame has pointed out that Africa has the resources to attain long-term economic development goals and reduce our reliance on foreign aid. Now, Rwandan head of state made the remarks during the 14th Annual Banking and Finance Conference. Take a look.
The COVID pandemic has affected every aspect of our economies. But the pandemic also presents an opportunity for Africa's banks to play a leading role in making our societies more resilient and more responsive to the needs of our people. Whatever affects business affects banking. Financial services are the engine of private sector development. Banks are crucial for allocating the capital wisely and productively. Indeed, Africa has the resources to fund its own economic growth and reduce dependency on external resources. To stay competitive, there is the need to keep integrating new technology into banking to increase financial inclusion and access. Banking can't just be a service for elites. The African Continental Free Trade Area is creating new opportunities for Pan-African trade and investment. Banks with the continental reach, like several of the institutions represented here, can lead the way in cementing economic integration. Finally, the banking sector, more than any other, understands the importance of integrity and good customer service. Banking is ultimately about trust. We look to you to set the pace in this regard. Our role as governments is to maintain good enabling environments, protecting both shareholders and consumers while allowing for innovation. We expect you to keep challenging us on this role.
The Minister of Local Government, Gatabazi Jean-Marie Vianney, has called on the Rwandans concerned to take the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine as soon as possible as the vaccination program continued this Tuesday in Kigali City. Gloria Mutesi reports.
COVID-19 vaccination is ongoing across Kigali City for those that are supposed to be getting their second dose. The vaccine is being given at various places, including health centers, stadiums, and other places. Those getting their second dose, some of whom are the youth, are calling upon their fellow young people to go and get fully vaccinated. There's no problem in getting a vaccine because then you're protecting your own life. The pandemic doesn't discriminate whether young or old. We all have to be vaccinated. Everyone should participate in this vaccination program because it's for our own good. There might come a time when one might look for the vaccine and they won't get it, and yet they might need it. The Minister for Local Government says that a number of vaccination sites have been set up in Kigali, and the number of staff has also been increased to ensure that those that are to get the second dose of the vaccine are catered for without waiting in long queues, while also calling upon people to not neglect the guidelines just because they were vaccinated.
Getting vaccinated doesn't remove the prevention guidelines. We have seen some people that have come to watch the games violating the guidelines by not wearing their masks just because they are vaccinated. People must continue respecting the guidelines because you can still get infected or infect others. The virus keeps mutating as well. So at all public events, such as weddings, people should still adhere to their guidelines.
The minister is also calling upon local authorities in provinces to fully prepare for mass vaccination that should be taking place in the near future.
We ask and remind the local authorities, leaders in cells, sectors, and mayors to collaborate with health and other authorities we work with so that as soon as vaccines arrive, they should prioritize vaccinating before anything else, so that we can distribute the vaccines as soon as possible, so more people can access them and we can be able to fight this pandemic.
It's been 21 days since Kigali launched a vaccination campaign for all people over the age of 18, many of whom are currently receiving their second dose.
Now, the Ministry of Emergency Management has announced that the refugees living in the Gihembe camp in Gicumbi district should be relocated to Mahama camp in Kirehe district by December this year. Now, residents of the camp expressed concern on what will happen to their development projects that they have accomplished in the last 20 years. Gabi Muvunyi reports.
Business, health services, water infrastructure and schools are some of the commodities you find in Gihembe refugee camp in Gicumbi district. The refugees express gratitude for the facilities and services they have been provided for the past 24 years. Following the announcement on being relocated to Mahama camp in Kirehe district, they are concerned in what will happen to their various projects they have completed, including the vocational students. We are worried about the move to Mahama because if we go there, we will not be able to get our certificates. So it would be good if we stayed here and finished first.
Life there will be hard because it is an unfamiliar environment. The weather there is way hotter. They told us that life there is harder.
The head of the TVET school, Sister Odette Maria, notes that the move will particularly be hard on his students and it will affect all the knowledge they have acquired here. These students have started learning about the professions they want to be in and have even started earning their own money. They are now independent. What I ask is that there is advocacy for them so that they may finish their studies and get into internships by December and that RTB can award them their certificates. The United Nations Population Fund, Korea International Cooperation Agency, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, and other various organizations visited their partner development projects in Gihembe camp that have helped the lives of many Congolese refugees. The Koika country director notes that the donations they have made over the past 3 years are aimed at helping the lives of the refugees.
We support around more than $5 million to UNFPA because they have the specialized expertise for supporting refugees. And today we could see the outcomes of their activities until now because this project will end in 2023 and there will be more chance to see their outcomes.
The country representative of UNFPA points out that although the refugees are about to be relocated to Mahama camp, they will continue to work with the Rwandan government to take care of them.
And what our project is supporting is for those young people to reach their full potential by having the information and the services available to access, especially for their sexual and reproductive health. Those that are experiencing gender-based violence to be able to access services, to respond, but also to prevent GBV. And ultimately for young people to have the skills to be able to plan their future, to be able to support their children, support their families, and be an active part of the community. And as Manema is supporting the relocation, this project will continue to support those beneficiaries to make sure that young people, no matter where they are in Rwanda, have access to information, access to services, access to skills.
The Ministry of Emergency Management highlights that by December 12, 2021, all the refugees in Gihembe camp will have been relocated to Mahama camp in Kirehe district and that others have already been relocated. The refugee camp manager emphasizes that the relocation of the refugees was due to the fact that the location is classified as a high-risk zone. These projects you see here, they will go and find others there. It's not like they're going to go there and start afresh. They should not be worried about anything. There is a group that was relocated in May, and they tell their fellow colleagues that life there is easier. Let them stay calm and know that they're going to a well-built camp. From the beginning of 1997 is when Congolese refugees first arrived at Gihembe camp. Currently, there are 2,392 of them that have already been relocated to Mahamba camp, and 9,922 of them are still at the Gihembe camp in Gicumbi district. Gabi Muvunyi, reporting for RTV News.
Thank you, Gabby, for that report. Now, the administration of the University of Rwanda has assured the members of the Public Accounts Committee that in less than 2 years, they will have corrected the mismanagement of finances and assets that continue to be rampant in that university. Gloria Mutesi continues.
Officials from the University of Rwanda on Tuesday appeared to give explanations on the mistakes and malpractice revealed by the 2019-2020 Auditor General's report. The errors identified in the report are mainly based on the mismanagement of public procurement and other contracts, unbalanced accounting books, and a lack of proper documentation. Honorable Wakundu Fite Christine, one of the members of PAC, said that some of these mistakes should not still be made by an institution such as the University of Rwanda. There's no report that shows the university's income and other documentations for income that is not from students. But their reports don't differentiate the different sources of their income. These mistakes should not be happening at all at the University of Rwanda. It doesn't even require for one to have a PhD or a master's. There are other mistakes for checks that were issued by the university but weren't followed up at all. It has checks of up to 92 million that have not been processed for 10 months. This is something they even teach in the university, that a check shouldn't exceed 2 months. So why then are we seeing this? Some of the errors in last year's report are also evident in the previous reports, but there are also new ones. For instance, last year, the university failed to provide 2 tenders, both worth more than 5 billion, and yet they were budgeted for. Officials from the University of Rwanda have indicated that they've embarked on a journey to improve its financial management and are confident it will have been rectified in 2 years. Professor Alexandre Gyambabaje said that through discussions with the leaders of the colleges and campuses, they are committed to resolving these issues as soon as possible. He also said the University of Rwanda was ready to cooperate with other institutions, including the Auditor General, for all these issues to be rectified.
Now, on Tuesday, the Military High Court resumed the trial of individuals accused of once being part of the P5 and Rwanda rebel groups that attacked in Kinigi in Musanze district in October 2019, killing 15 and injuring another 14 people, some so seriously they had to continue seeking medical treatment to this day. During the court proceedings on Tuesday, testimonies from 9 witnesses were heard, and 36 of 37 the accused appeared in court, with 1 still at large. The defendants in court have admitted to the charges against them and asked for a pardon. Now, some of the witnesses lost their children and spouses in the attack, which launched over the board in the DRC. Now, the defendants face charges related to forming or joining an illegally armed group, conspiring with foreign governments to start a war, forming and joining a terrorist group, attempting to harm government officials, terrorism, conspiracy to commit murder, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, and conspiracy to physically maim. Now, the trial began in March this year and will continue on Wednesday, with hearing conducted for those seeking compensation. Moving on today, the Minister of State, Honorable Jean Kostusomik Ngabitsinze, together with the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development of Central African Republic, Honorable Matthew Eric Rokose Kamot, visited National Solar-Powered Irrigation Project in Kirehe District. The National Irrigation Scheme includes 63 center pivots on 1,173 hectares. It serves 2,099 small-scale farmers now and has a solar power plant which has a capacity of 3.3 megawatts to power the irrigation system and 2.4 megawatts battery storage. Honorable Matthew Eric Rokose Kamot highlighted that this irrigation technology reflects a bigger area of collaboration between Rwanda and the Central African Republic and could be a strategic investment for his government to stimulate the private sector and smallholder farmers to increase productivity. Now, moving on, some representatives of 12 private companies registered in the Rwanda Social Security Board say their clients' pension money is invested in profitable projects which are closely monitored by the National Bank of Rwanda. Take a look. More than 10 years ago, the National Bank of Rwanda authorized the private sector to be registered in the pension scheme. A 6-month 2021 statement released by the National Bank on monetary policy and financial stability shows that since the enactment of the 2015 law to facilitate the establishment of private institutions to collect pension savings, 12 institutions have joined. 7 collect the contribution of corporate employees and 5 collect the contribution of individuals who wish to. Axis Pensions representative Eric Koti says they are happy with this scheme.
Why don't we also consider saving through the capital markets? Why don't we also consider saving through our financial systems, buying houses and lands and plots? But what we are telling everybody, even if it's 100 francs you have, start saving it now, start investing it now. There are funds available in Rwanda that will accept your 5,000 francs, your 10,000 francs, your 1 million, whatever it is. But you know, it's a very interesting area, and I see that gradually it's gaining momentum, but not at the pace at which it has to.
Some of the workers and individuals who have decided to be part of the pension scheme say they are happy with the way their investments are managed and how this sector provides employment to many.
Yes, we get good return. We are talking about, if you're investing in bond, you're talking about 11% or 12% average from different bonds. You know, you're talking about the treasury bills, we're talking about 80% return in the money we're getting from BNR as well. When you get to the normal financial banks, bank deposit, we normally get around 80 to 9% kind of investment return. So when you look at how our portfolio is structured now, we've moved from almost 250 million to almost 400 million in just 2 years. So that is quite a big return for our pension scheme.
The Secretary General of the Rwanda Workers' Trade Union Confederation, Wiraboneye Africaine, says although the private sector has joined the pension scheme, not having a retirement age limit could have a negative impact.
Bifite ingaruka zikomeye cyane kuba nta gihe ntarengwa bahabwa kuko abantu bihambira mu kazi.
Not having a retirement age limit in the private sector is a problem because you will find that some employees just don't want to retire. Hence, this can consequently affect their own health and also affect the productivity level. So if they don't set a retirement age limit, it will affect everything. The first quarter report for 2021 released by BNR says the level of pension savings from the private institutions has risen. The number has risen from 43,344 in 2020 in the first quarter to 63,053 in the first quarter of 2021. Their savings increased from 4.3 billion Rwandan francs in 2020 in the first quarter to 5.1 billion Rwandan francs in the first 6 months of this year. In the first 6 months of 2021, the pension savings increased by 6.1% because 109 billion was saved, while during the first 6 months of 2020, there have been an increase of 9%. This category of pension insurance accounts for 17.9% of the financial sector in Rwanda. It accounts for only 5% of the social security sector because the other 95% is owned by RSSB.